got the 2022 Tupac of Chicago. Eric Stiller in the building right now.
There it is, y'all.
Then on the far left of me, we got the Janky one.
Janky no more, buddy.
Man, out west CL, Corey CL Crockett in the building. So with that being said, hey, we want to thank everybody. Hey, if you haven't followed us, click that like and subscribe on YouTube.
Very important.
Also click that like and subscribe and listen to us on your drive to work in the morning, even at work.
Yeah.
In your AirPods.
Tell your friends about it.
What? The AirPods you be having from your boss and shit on the floor and shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and some other shit I don't even know about yet, but we're finding out as we keep going. With that being said, how you doing, fellas?
Pretty good, brother. It's hot as hell, but other than that, can't complain. Just happy to be back around you, brothers. We can talk this actual factual studge.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Chicago bipolar, man. It was like
It was snowing last
sick. I seen snowflake too.
I did too.
It
was like a tornado.
We had a tornado today.
This weather is like the average females everywhere. Mentally.
Oh man.
I'm just joking. I'm just getting y'all warmed up.
We might get canceled after the first show. That's a whole other thing.
Let me drink my water.
Just getting y'all warmed up. That was just a warm up.
Well, I ain't get into too much besides this crazy weather. Work. Last weekend I hung out with my little brother. Shout out to my little brother Tro. Just turned 29 today. Happy birthday. Told him it's people his age, he better be. He called me old. I said, you gonna get old. Because people, your generation, they dropping left and right. They say you blessed to be here. So, love you, brother.
Younger generation might not make it to our age. That's the sad part.
I hope they do, man.
Yeah, it's kind of scary, man.
Speaking of my experience from living in Chicago with these little bastards don't know how to act when they go downtown. That's what I said.
Downtown off the chain.
Oh yeah, you can't even go down there no more, man. You go down there, it was like a safe haven. Now you get clapped down there.
I get off, I be ready to come home, man. I'm like, I ain't no smoke.
And with that being said, hold on. Yeah, one more thing I want to do real quick. I got to show the audience real quick. So, I'm sorry, that's not the audience, but this is the audience. Or like the hoping this more people come in here. Yeah. So they can show out. Because when we come down here, I want all the smoke. Y'all know how I do. I don't care. I just want the lion's den. What Bucky said in Notorious?
Come on with a chinchilla.
He said, man, I go in the jump butt naked, man. I come out, he said, come out fat and with a chinchilla on it.
Oh, we gotta get shout out to Lack, man. That's what the energy is missing today.
Definitely.
Lack is at school.
We're gonna hold it down for you.
For his education. So I know you're gonna, if we had a phone, he'll call in.
Absolutely. Oh, you know what? I did talk to Lack. I think we did talk to Lack. He said we got one thing for him.
What's that?
Two things. We got two things for him. We got two things for him to let him know that his energy is missed here, that he's acknowledged, and that he's here in spirit.
I think it's going out the AG way. Shout out to AG.
Yeah, that's the second.
That's second. What's the first? What's the first?
The first one he always say when he see a beautiful woman.
Damn it, my eyes.
Oh yeah.
And then you know the second because he West Side Hooper. You know what I'm saying? We got to do it all day.
One time.
Let's go, boy. Let's go.
So, to this day, I still don't know who the hell Arthur AG was pointing at.
We even asked him.
He say, I don't know.
Who pointing at, man?
He was playing somebody in the Red West.
I don't know what game. No, I think that was the King game.
It was the King game?
I think so.
Yeah, they was at the Rosemont Rising.
You never know.
At the amphitheater, I think it was.
All right, so today's show, we're gonna tackle some real deep studied relationship topics, and got a surprise for you.
Okay.
Normally I have boss top 5,
Right.
I got 2 boss top 5.
Damn.
Who?
2?
I got 2 boss top 5.
This is going to be funny.
Yeah,
got a top 10, basically.
Right.
Top 10.
LeBron might be in your top 10 for relationships.
Some kind of way it's going to end up.
That just might be. that video is.
Bro, we ain't got nothing to do with that. That's him. That's all.
Right. So we're gonna get off into the show, man. Everybody knows that we are in a war. Cat Williams said that, and it used to be black and white. It used to, it's man and female. It's man and woman. It's poor versus rich. It's the truth versus the lie. So I got another war I'm gonna kick off because we wrestle with this to see which side is actually better. Single versus married. And you got, and I understand you got a lot of single people coming to things, wanting to be treated like they're married in the beginning, and you got married people acting single. So my question for the panel, for the audience, is single the new married these days?
Woo.
I'm gonna let one of you guys go first, because I might have a whole lot to say that might show.
Okay, I'll kick it off, man.
I need my fifth sign.
I've never been married, so I can't really speak from a married perspective. But you know, I know a lot of married people. A lot of my family members are married. My mom's married, sister married. You know, a lot of my homies are married. And there's a few people, not naming none of the people I just named, but I know other people that are married and they still do single shit. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the reason why I haven't even been that excited to kind of take the plunge, because, you know, my mother is urging me like, it's time, when you gonna get married, you gonna get married. But stuff I be seeing nowadays from the married people, especially at my job, I ain't gonna even mention that. That's like a cesspool. It's just, I'm serious, man. It's just, it's scandalous. Like, and it's on both sides, men and women, you know. So, I don't know, man. You know, the stuff I see, man, it's just crazy. Married people be out here, man. For real, for real.
Woo. This is what lack is missed at right now. I'm not gonna go into the spirit of lack because I know lack to go there. But me personally, man, yeah, married people are getting it in. This is why I stay somewhat single. I don't want no smoke. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. The end. The end. I don't want none of that smoke from the married people or the people that's messing with married people. I don't know. It's just too much for me. I don't know what to say.
Okay, but you two guys are single, so it's like you can actually speak from a single perspective. So it's like in your eyes, and I don't know if you guys have aspirations of ever being married, but you have a vision of marriage and then you're currently single. So it's like I would like to hear your opinions from both sides individually. Like the single you, like you value the single you right now, and then what would you like and how to act from a mate and among yourself when married?
Well, I'll say this, man. You know, I love, and you know, I kind of be envying a lot of people that I see when they just, you know, got that tightness, but you know, would I like to have that in the future? Of course. I don't know nobody that wouldn't, you know, but like I tell my mother and my sister, I'm like, I'm not in a rush because, you know, I don't even know if I'm 100% ready for a marriage. I might be the one that'll ruin it, you know, so I'm not just going to throw it off on the women.
Honest, every today? Oh,
no, seriously, man. You know, let's not keep it a buck. Like, I don't know if, you know, that's for me right now, even at this age. And a lot of people are like, man, it's that time. I don't think you can put an age limit on that. It's just when you're ready, you know you're ready. You know?
You can respect that answer because, I mean, if anything, that's one of the most important things we talk about when getting into a relationship is knowing yourself. So, I mean, he knows himself to say, you know, that could be a fear of, like, he might mess it up.
Exactly.
So, I mean, that's not a bad thing. Like, I'd be honest and double down and say, there's times where I feel the same way, you know. So I mean, it goes a lot of different ways. But Corey,
Well, it all depends on who it's with. You know, if it's with someone that you deep in love with, and it works both ways, and I think it'll be, you know, long lasting. You know, but you know, you get into marriage, that's it's supposed to be a forever thing.
Yeah, ain't
you know,
take lightly.
Cause you just, I think. And I was having a conversation with one of my cousins the other day, and he was talking about one of the topics, and he brought it up. He said, you know, you got to think about it, man. Like, compared to how our grandmother and them was, man, they took the good and the bad, because they committed to that one person. They was married till one of them passed away. You know, like, it was literally to do a party. You remember what a party about 5-6 shows ago. Actually, our first show here,
Yes.
and we talked to, one of the senior women, and she was saying the same thing. Like I feel sorry for y'all generation because there's so many y'all want just to look but don't want to put the work in. So if I'm willing to put the work in, she has to be willing to put the work in too. Other than that, it ain't gonna work.
Yeah, because everybody is definitely in the get yours game out there.
It's for the look. It's more for the look.
I can sit here and admit that like everybody is definitely in the get yours game, and it's got to be, on my terms or that's it. There's no compromise. There's a fear of somebody being made a fool out of or putting more in than the next, and so on. And that's a gateway to a toxic relationship. When one side has to put in more than the other, that kind of, it's like the on ramp to a toxic highway. You know what I'm saying? But
I won't say that because you ask some that get, or they going through some and they went through them ups and downs. That caused them also tied a knot because that person probably just wasn't ready at the time and flipped the switch. I'm like, you know what? This person held me down for so long. I can't be nobody else like that. Even though you may still possibly step out, but if you know that's the right one for you, man, you're going to make sure you keep that household together. Because starting over, I can only imagine how it is. Not because I've never been married, so I can't speak on that. But just seeing what some meant to get married after 20, 30 years, that's you can't take with the time.
Absolutely.
The stuff that you buy with money, and, raising kids, you're supposed to do that anyway. But that time, you can't take that back.
Okay. A second here. All right. So here's my next thing as well. Being a person that's divorced and been down that road, I can actually tell you this: married is the new single when you're in a toxic relationship or unfulfilled relationship. Because people, and it goes back to what I said, people have an all or nothing mentality when they're in relationships like that. So when they have those type of mindsets, you're gonna constantly and always feel unfulfilled, and you're gonna always be seeking. Now, this is why I say a toxic relationship over toxic people. Nobody wants you until you got somebody. But when you single, they look over you because of availability.
I've heard that.
So it's like when I'm when if they're with somebody, it's something about this man or woman that why they got this particular person. We in today's society we put a lot of stock in like our mates or who we choose to be in a relationship with, like defines us to a certain degree in today's society. Whereas it was never like that. But in a right relationship, a healthy one, marriage is marriage, man, because everything's on up and up, equally yoked, everything's genuine. Hell, you might even get paid handsome. You know what I'm saying?
Why you say that?
I was reading, I read the Bible in my spare time, and I was reading.
That's hard to believe.
I mean, I'm a born
What
again.
version?
I'm a born again heathen, but
Born again heathen.
But
okay.
If you ever heard the story of Solomon and Gomorrah, it kind of speaks on that. So.
Well,
I don't want to go too much into it.
Because
it's an entertainment show. I ain't trying to be preachy.
I
ain't trying to be like Joel Osteen or nothing like that. But
he can't. Yeah, he might definitely want to.
I wonder if they got any opinions on this.
yeah, I want to know what you guys' opinions on it. Y'all feel free to chime in.
Well, it's not preachy to acknowledge that marriage in itself is spiritually based. So there's a covenant, and I was going to say that it's important for both people to understand what that entails before you even sign up for it. Because a lot of people talk about, do you want to, it's like before you even think that far, you both have to have an understanding of what that means to you. Because for some people, it's just, okay, I'm just, with somebody all the time and we just so happen to have rings. And for other people, it's like, okay, no, this is a covenant. I take this serious. Like, it's for God, it's for my family. So, and that's why I respect guys, and I've had guys tell me, it's like, okay, I know because they have every intention on doing it the right way. So they know they're not ready to do it the right way yet. So I'd rather them be like, all right, I'm just chilling, I'm out here right now because when they decide to be a husband, they want to be the best husband they can be. So I would rather you wait rather than just jump into it just to say, okay, you know, because she's pressuring you or because y'all been together for a long time, like you have to both be on the same page about one, what it means and what you plan to do to sustain it. Because if you were talking about, it's a difference between being in a relationship and it's like, okay, it's toxic, it's not working, you can just go your separate ways. But when you're married, that goes back to what you were saying. A lot of people, it's challenging because a person of faith, I feel like, you know, you should try everything you can before you decide to use the D word. And for some people, it's just like, I'm out the doors. Because especially with a lot of the literature we have, a lot of the media, everything is about just leave. And I get it to a certain extent, but marriage is supposed to be like no matter what. You know what I mean? And I think nowadays people, they just figure, okay, you know what? I have more options. I'm out.
Yeah, unless you just in something just like abusive relationship, you know, marriage.
But even in cases like that, you know, a lot of our elders and people that we know, they've gone through that. Not to say that it was healthy, but some people have grown through it. So they've grown through infidelity, they've grown through having outside children, they've grown through domestic violence. It's not the end of the world that happens if both people are on the same page about making it work. But if one person is just committed to being who they were, like it's all about me, you just do it, then that's not gonna work. But if you're really actually trying to grow together, you can get past all that stuff.
It's interesting take.
That's why I said I don't think I would be ready because mentally I don't know if I'll be able to. You know?
Yeah, me either. I'm out. You can't hit me.
You
can't, right? You're not gonna have a baby on me. I'm out of there.
Skate around.
Hey,
I'm not your punching bag until you get it together. You know what I mean? Seriously,
that happens though.
Wait,
no, not that. I ain't talking about that. No, I don't condone that at all.
Oh, don't hit
I was talking about what
but
she
hit
did.
another person and get another person.
That was bad. I didn't mean that.
But you know what? The emotional abuse is just as bad. You know, like I have PTSD from dealing with narcissists, and it's just as bad in a certain sense because it has an impact on you way beyond the relationship. So physical abuse, of course, for some people that is the last straw, but for others, it's like that emotional piece. Looking back in situations I've had, I'm like, wow, I can't believe I tolerated that. But if you're not in a place to really understand like your worth, you know, to really know actually what you're looking at, because sometimes we be seeing stuff, it's like, I can't really put my finger on it. I'm just gonna try to work with them and see if they're gonna get better. But once you like grow and you learn about certain things, you're like, nah, red flag. I'm good.
True.
And a lot of people are stepping away from the, you know, since, you know, Bar brought it up, the faith-based aspect of it all. Once again, we get caught up into what we see on social media, but we're losing our ground for our faith. And not to get too deep, but reality is God created marriage before he created the church. He created that in the Old Testament. The church didn't come until Jesus came how many years later? So marriage is near and dear to his heart because that was his very first covenant. And if we keep that in mind when we go into it and stay grounded to our religious beliefs, then we won't find ourselves, one, going into a whole lot of relationships we shouldn't be in to begin with because we jump into things without vetting people properly. That's a whole nother conversation.
And not knowing ourselves and not even knowing what it is, because once what you were saying, and also about the entity, that's why I said covenant, because I've had conversations with a lot of men and they feel like, what's the point? You know, we together, we rocking it, we loyal, what's the point in getting a license? I don't see the point in just the man. I don't want to have to. And from my spiritual beliefs, it's like, okay, technically you're supposed to abide by whatever authority you have, and our authority is government. Our government says you should get, you know, but at the end of the day, it's the covenant that you have. You're agreeing to cover this woman and make sure that, okay, I'm gonna look out for her no matter what, and I'm responsible to God for her. And I think that's the difference. A lot of people that are married that are out here reckless, they're not really taking that serious. It's like, okay,
you hit on it.
I'm looking out for her. This is not just, you know, some kicking it, buddy. I'm responsible for her, and God is going to hold me accountable for how I treat her and how my family operates and how my household, you know what I mean? So people, they've gotten away from that, so now it's just like a free-for-all, and they just figure, And it's really disrespectful because you got married people dealing with each other, and it's just like, you have any, and they feel like because things are rocky, it's an excuse. You know, that's why I get really sad when I talk to guys and they're like, you know, they having a rocky space in their marriage. I really just hate to see that because it's a lot of women out here that do not care. They do not care, and that makes it harder for men to fight for their marriage because it's like, okay, you got somebody that's telling you they're gonna do everything your wife is not doing right. You know, so you have to have that commitment.
That 80-20 rule, you know.
I gotta give a shout out to my cousin Mike and his soon-to-be wife. He proposed. No, he proposed to Annie. So it's a beautiful thing. They've been together for a while.
We gonna pray for them still.
Nah, of course, but you know, I'm assuming both. Well, I know my cousin been around it his whole life. You know, his grandfather is my uncle, so he's seen till my uncle passed away. Him married to his grandmother for almost 50 years. Or I think it was 50 years. Right. So he's seen what ups and downs look like. So for him to want to step into that, I don't think it's not new for him. And I'm assuming that's the same thing with her family because she got a really big family as well. So I'm assuming a lot of people on her side of the family, you know, we are married or whatnot. So I mean, I applaud him for it, you know, because he's with the woman that.
That's another big piece of it too. I think the accountability piece, like, you know, and that's something I look at when I'm dating, potential guys. I'm looking at their friends, people they're around. Do they have, you know, married friends that hold them accountable, or that, you know, at least are like mentors. You know, because if you got friends, they all outside, they all fighting. It's like, okay, you don't really have, even in their families, it's like, okay. And some guys, even though they've had that example, they still choose to go the opposite way. But in terms of friendship, because I'm looking at, okay, if we're going to be together, who do we have that's going to hold us accountable if we fall off? You know, but if you got all your friends are cheating on each other and they all, you know, it's like, who do you have?
And accountability goes deeper than just even cheating, because I told my two closest friends that if I ever was to get remarried, hold me accountable in all areas. And I'm giving an example. I have a friend who, her husband is off during the summertime, and she asked him, she's like, you gonna be off? And he was like, yeah. He was like, I got it budgeted out. So this was last year. Towards the end of the summer, you know, he was running short on cash, and he was like, babe, can you like loan me $200? And she was like, no. What? And I got on her. Hold people accountable, not just in infidelity and things, but in all areas. That's your husband. And we talk about protecting our husbands, protecting us, but we got to remember, we were created from the rib, and your rib cage protects all your organs. So you have to protect him as well. So you have to not do things because of your feelings, but what's best for your household. So I had to bring her back to reality. So
what was his $200 in the first place?
Daddy.
It depends.
Daddy, man.
I
don't like her.
Wait a minute, man.
We got to give a
She's
big
so
shout out
wrong.
to the owner of Meats ME Marketplace. We got to give Shatima. I forgot to introduce her in the intro. And I also got to say, don't forget to click and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? We got all this up, running,
Can't see it from here, but
you know. So, but Shatima, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, that's okay. So I think everybody is saying good stuff, but finances is really big for me, given what I do for a living. Everybody count. So, case in point, if I'm married and if I know my husband struggles in finance, and we create a budget and we say that we're going to stick to it, and then he comes and said he didn't spend all his money, and now he wants to ask me for $200, and I'm frustrated, then I may say no, because we agreed that we're going to do blah, 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 out of anger. I'm not saying to keep that way, but for me, I would want to know more circumstances as to why she doesn't want to do that. Not saying that she shouldn't, or she... Oh, she's okay, because again,
answer that question.
Right, I would want to hold, my husband accountable. Just like, if I say I don't want to be eating cupcakes and chips, and then I go buy some, you need to hold me accountable. Right, eat cupcakes and chips. So okay, so that's on that.
Well, let's look at it in reverse. And we know how you women be shopping, like Daisy said, and you just blowing through money. You just like, man, I'm trying to do X, Y, Z for us, and you study doing this. It goes both ways, correct? No.
That goes back to us not having conversations prior to us getting married. How are we going to divide our money up? Are we going to give each other allowance? Are we going to have everything come out of one? Is your money, my money, and we put this together to the bills? Because if we decide that, okay, we allocate this to the bills, but what I got is mine and what you got is yours, if I come home with some red bottoms, that came out of my money. If we're building towards something together, then we need to set another budget and say, hey, this is towards the down payment of the house. Now, when somebody's coming up short in that area, it's time to have another conversation. But I can't get mad at you for bringing in 2 pair of Jordans if you brought it with your money. It doesn't have anything to do with what the household has going on.
Or you went out and made some extra money to be able to afford it.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, every woman, I don't care, I've seen debates about this, I've seen people saying hiding. I'm telling you as a professional, everybody should have a joint and separate. I'm telling y'all, there have been financial abuse on both sides. I've seen it because you be in love one day and then whoever is on the upper hand and then they want to take it out on the individual. It's not going in saying that something is going to go wrong, but it's with the mindset of protecting yourself.
Yeah.
Because sometimes if you also is incorporating domestic violence in terms of physical abuse, now you can't really get out of that particular situation because now you don't have your own money and then you're going through both financial abuse and domestic violence. So
I see both sides of it.
Hey, give me 1 second.
Kim
because-
Fox did just stop her
give
husband,
me-
but I
give
ain't
me
want to
1
bring
second,
that
'cause
part
I
up.
wanted to kind of get
I
back
know what he
to the
did.
topic
I don't like that.
about single being able to do the marriage and stuff like that. And it's because we kind of veered off into relationships, and if I'm listening to it, everything was gravitated more towards the financial, the monetary. Like
No.
bank accounts.
That just
She
came
gave
up
an
because
example
that's
about
how they
she gave an
just
example
accountable.
about the 200 and everything, and
Should have been 40. No, I'm joking.
yeah, it should have been 40. But anyway, but the point I was going to try to make was, could that have always been the arrangement and the goal of getting married is to be able to live and maintain a lifestyle? And maybe that's why, because I mean, we all got social media. You see people with they go on the trips and they taking all the selfies, and probably 11% is with their babe, but the other 89% is with them by themselves or with their friends and the ocean and what they do and what they eat and stuff like that. So is it more like a lifestyle thing they want, a lifestyle, the image they want to maintain, you know, being married, but wanting to be single at the same time?
No, some people are just homeless. Like they just homeless. It's a situation where it's like it's
She
convenient,
contradicted
you know. So it's like, okay, more often than not it's guys, but you know, smart, they can be homeless and they find a situation and he's doing all the things that she needed a man. She's like, all right, you cool as long as you do all those things. So they find themselves in a situation where they're in a relationship, you know. So there are situations like that, but there are others where it's just like, it depends on what you're. I see both sides of it though, because sometimes you can have a woman that's at home, she's an at-home mom, you know. So what happens then? But I think you lose a lot of the risk that's involved with getting married when you do all of that splitting up. When you don't actually say we become one and this is all, you know what I mean? I can see about having different accounts for different things, but when everything is about, when you're going into it like, okay, every man for themselves, but I'm with you. I think that's what leads people to doing, acting like they still single, because it's like you said, that mentality, you haven't become, you know, one. When you really become one, everything is about us. It's not, okay, well, just in case you don't, I got this on the side. No, it's like, I'm putting all my eggs in this basket. Now, of course, we know better based on what we've seen, but that's the part of the faith and the risk that's involved with getting married, you know. And if you don't really go all in, and I can speak about it because I have a clear commitment for that reason. It's like, one, the same person every day, and then it's like, I gotta trust you to take care of it.
Hang on.
I gotta trust
Hang on.
you.
I think I can speak for this. Hold on, I need my own solo camera for this one. You
Let me
heard it.
finish.
If
And
the
I-
dick is good, they don't mind. But go ahead.
So I'm not just the same. I'm talking about just waking up to the same person every day, and also just being able to trust that person can care, you know, take care of you. You know, a lot of times women, I don't even go down that rabbit hole. But there's a lot of times it's just like.
Oh, we're gonna go down that rabbit hole. Maybe not now, but later.
Yeah. But it's being able to trust that that person can take care of you, and also trust that they got you if you fall off. So a lot of times men have a hard time with accepting that help if they fall. So let's say you get laid off. This money we talking about, let's split up. Now it's like, okay, no, that's my money. That's my money. What you gonna? It shouldn't be like that. Okay, if you fall on hard times for 5 years, I got you. I was just looking at I don't know if you're familiar with Kevin on stage, but he was saying like when they were first talking, his wife took out a personal loan so he could finish college, and that just blew my mind. They weren't even married yet. You know, it's like stuff like that. You have to go into it with that kind of mentality. Like, okay, you know what? I'm investing in your future, or I see our future. But if you still go into it like, all right, well, I'm married to you. I'm coming home to you. I pay the bills. But when I'm at work, but when I'm at the cigar place, but when I'm, you know what I mean, I behave differently. That's not gonna work.
Well, you got to set the cigars. That's a whole lot of stuff.
You definitely took the words out of my
So,
mouth.
like I said before the show, I got 2 top 5s. You know what I'm saying? I do think we get me in there. I got 2 top 5s. So my first top 5, because we have such disconnect between single and married, I'm going to help the ladies and the men out today.
I've been told already.
Yeah, I got 2 of them.
Shit.
I got 2 of them.
Let me drink some water. This gonna be.
I need more than water for this one. No, but you know, I've been told, you know, in the streets, and you know, I listen to a lot of people. They say we women bashers, and no, we don't women bash.
I hope they not saying that.
They do say that, and I'm looking at the camera right now. I'm gonna say this. Here at Let's Talk About It, Style, we're going to highlight everything in the city of Chicago. We're gonna talk about entertainment. We're gonna talk about relationships, and we're gonna go back to our roots and talk about sports. Okay. We're going to talk about music. We're going to talk about a lot of shit that y'all talk about, whether that you read in the newspaper, the beauty shops, the barber shops, etc. You know, no topic is off limits.
Yes,
okay?
it is.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. That's the baby.
And this week.
That's the
no,
baby.
I'd stay away
So with
from
that being
guy.
said, this top 5 is going to be applied to men and women. Top 5 signs or top 5 signs or goals to look for in being in a compatible relationship.
Okay.
All right.
I gotta hear this. We didn't plan this. This is all of us. All his top 5, he take this.
All right, number 5. I'm going to say you have to share core values. Like, it don't matter how you get there, as long as you get there. As long as you get the same goals, you got the same values in terms of loyalty, communication, honesty, money management, time together, time apart, etc. You know what I'm saying? Raising kids.
Unlike Lori and Michael B. Jordan.
That's in the next segment. You just jump all the way ahead.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but I'm
coming
just saying you have to share core values, you know, and we have to admit that everybody is raised different. All right, so that's number 5. Number 4. I think this. I got it written down, but I never took the time to put it in voice. So I'm going to say the common thing that everybody says within relationships. It's going to be respect/communication. And I'm going to dig a little bit deeper into one. They're going to both be the same, but I'm going to dig a little bit deeper. When you talk about respect and communication, that means that when you ask a question, you have an open mind about respecting your partner's answer instead of asking a question with your mind already made up what the answer is. And most people don't, we can talk a good game, we can talk all day, but we fail at listening. So you get a partner that can listen to you, you're in a good, healthy kind of relationship. Number 3. This is going to shock y'all.
But before you,
Go ahead. I'm going to finish and you can rebuttal.
it's not a rebuttal. I was going to add on about the communication because I think it's important to qualify what each person how they communicate or their communication language or how they.
Well, that's their business. Every relationship is that's their
right.
business.
I'm just saying, but it's just
Okay.
like because people always.
I can't tell you how to drink water. You know, just saying. You know, I can say, yeah,
That is
do
actually funny.
stuff like that. Number 3, you enjoy time apart. You ever heard that old cliche? You ever heard that cliche? Absence make the heart grow fonder.
Exactly.
I mean, and then on top of that, and I'm talking about in today's time, too many people put too much stock in their partner making them happy, doing things with the partner like their partner defines them. When you get away from your partner, you have a sense of individuality to it. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a time when you can be yourself and be your own individual and actually function without your mate. Not saying that should be a regular thing and that you shouldn't be going through things together, but you got to be able to function. Like you had a life before you met them. And how many people you know get booed up? They used to hang out with their friends. They get booed up. Now they don't come out as much no more. Unless they fight with their boo in an argument, then they come around friends a little bit more. Then the minute they make up, it's back to status quo. They all up under their boo. You don't get to see them.
Is that wrong? Or?
That's what I was gonna say. I know some
It's
people.
debatable.
They are like genuinely like I have a friend, her and her husband. They're like genuinely best friend. And I love it. I went to Houston with them, and I just observed them, and it's just like it's never one of those moments like, man, I gotta get out of here over her. Like they genuinely like they are like they just love each other's company.
Yeah.
Like of course we go out and hang out with the guys, and me and her we kick it whatever. But they genuinely love each other's company, and they kick it with each other. They kick it hard too, you know. So it's not like I don't have nothing else to do. I don't have a life. It's just like, man, it's my G, and we just,
Yeah, well,
sometimes- What do you?
I got two more. So we
Might
get
be
about
capping,
it.
man.
I got 2 more. So we
It might
get
be different behind.
I got 2 more before we get the rebuttals. Number 4. This is a big one. You actually bring out the best in each other.
Yes.
I've always said when you go into a relationship, there's an 80-20 rule. Okay? You can be the 80%. And I watched Jerry Maguire, one of my favorite movies, man. The dude that had the coldest line didn't say the line at all. He did it with sign language. And it was like, what that mean? You complete me.
Aww.
You know what I'm saying? That means like, and then I was watching another movie called Guess Who? Bernie Mac and Ashton Kutcher.
I love that movie.
And he was like, she said, the girl, she makes me whole. It's like, whatever my weaknesses is, she feels that puzzle for me, and she completes me that way. That's what Ashton Kutcher said. Bernie Mac, he took the line, get out the hot water with his wife. That's a whole other story to the movie. So that's number 4. And last but not least, number 5. You can be comfortable being yourself around your people. A lot of people you have to put on the front to, we see it all the time when we go, man.
But some people be
the
overboard
boys,
too,
yeah,
though,
they
man.
switch up game is different when they're around a girl. They switch up game is different when they're around a girl.
Not to the
she
point
gone,
not when you embarrassing
Really,
yourself.
LeVar?
I'm just saying, it
Nah,
ain't
you can't
me,
go out
but
and
it is
embarrass
what
me
it is.
because you
Hey,
say
that's
I'm
my
just
top
being me.
5. Y'all let me know what y'all think.
Lord.
I want the audience rebuttals on this because they got a lot to say. They ain't bulletproof like last time, but
I think
Like,
it's a
where you
really
at,
great
like?
list.
Watch it.
Really great list. And I think that especially that one, like you said, when you make each other better. I'll never forget something a friend of mine told me. She's a widow now, but her previous husband, she said he was not perfect, but he was perfect for me. And that to me,
I
like,
love
that
that
just says so much because it's like,
Yeah.
we expect someone, we have all these expectations and standards of people, but it's like, you're not perfect, but you're perfect for me. And I think that's what makes the difference, and that's what makes you want to keep trying, and that's what makes you like put in the effort. So yeah, that whole making the person better, that makes it different. Because a lot of times, you will often hear women, we always ask y'all, what made you choose her? Why did you marry her? Like what made, what I mean? We always, because we want to know like what is it that separated that woman from the rest of the women.
you want the honest truth. When you ask a man that, you expect the honest truth.
A married man,
I know what you
A
about to
married
say.
man, he just want to fuck. That's it.
Wait,
That's
wait,
why you
wait.
tell
I just want to time.
These little
It
vibes.
is what it is.
Wait,
At that
hold
time.
on. Wait a minute.
He wanted to
Shout out to me too, Marketplace.
He probably had a good job.
Marketplace.
You know?
And so he fell in love with her? Is that what you're saying?
Well, what if
The same way some women, I use the word some, so y'all won't cut my head off.
yeah.
Juice on me today in the marketplace.
Like where you at? Your boy bugging up.
When do I not?
No.
I got
You know
hit
what I'm
it.
saying? It's the same way when women get with me and,
Very.
you know, for anything but having a genuine relationship. It's the same thing. If you notice, I'm not throwing women up on the bus. I'm saying men are just as guilty.
Well, no, let's just say, okay, you're dating multiple people, right? Okay.
That makes you a thought. Go ahead.
I'm saying,
Wait.
Me and Eric is very quiet
Call it
this
what you
segment.
want to call it, but that's the reality of, the life.
Both men and women.
But that's what I'm saying. Both men and women. You're dating, just say two people, and they're almost just equal. Like they both got good jobs. They're both grounded in their religion. They both got good family values. What makes a man say, okay, this one versus that
Maybe
one?
one don't nag him as much. That'd probably be the difference maker. Y'all underestimate how important it is not to nag and complain all the time to your guy. That's probably the worst thing you can do besides fuck somebody else.
I have
That's
a
my
guy. I
opinion.
have a guy friend, and he's dating somebody, and he told me, he was like, she complains a lot, and I was like, well, then you need to tell her not to. I said, what does she complain about? Does she complain about you? He was like, she just complains about just stuff that's going on with her, and I was like, why don't you sit down and tell her that it's getting a little bit too much for you? Because what I've learned from just being around platonic guy friends, I don't know why, I just like being around men just to get their mindset. They were saying that sometimes, like, okay, they want to be there for you, but just sometimes they don't need to know everything that's going on. Like, you need to be able to kind of control your emotions. Like, if you stump your toe, it's like a whole big deal, and it's like, oh my God, I got to deal with this. Like, it's just stumping your toe. Like, go deal with it. For 2
Overwhelming.
seconds. It's right. It's overwhelming
Seriously.
emotionally, and so that was one of the things that I was like, well, if you feel like that it's an issue, like, kindly tell her, like, that it's becoming.
Shorty on. Hear that shit to me.
becoming issue.
I just had that conversation with a friend of mine last night, and because we're really good friends, and he blows it off, like he kind of jokingly blows it off as, okay, she just nagging again. But I will admit that's something I got to work on. But I asked him, I'm like, okay, what's the difference between me communicating my needs versus you? Because a lot of times men, y'all just consider everything nagging. Anytime we say something that's not, oh my God, you repeating me, I love you. It's like, okay, we should be able to communicate our needs. But he was saying it's the time and it's the time and it's how you say it that makes a difference. So that's something that I know I need to work on.
Trying to tell you.
But you know what? I'm gonna say this, and it's two perfect analogies when it comes to communication. It's better to measure 10 times and cut once than measure once and cut 10 times. Meaning, think before you speak, and it's because the old cliche. It's not what you say; it's how you say it. And see, sometimes when you take that time to take a step back, kind of check your natural knee-jerk emotions, and you take the time to think and articulate yourself the right way, that makes a big difference between healthy communication and starting up an argument or coming off as nagging. You know what I'm saying? And I'm saying it for both men and women because we can be reckless at the mouth too. I'm probably the first one that could be.
Right, and that goes back to what I was talking about earlier in terms of having an understanding of like qualifying communication and like what each person receives. Because you might be with a guy or a woman and they shut down. Like I used to be that person. I just shut down. Like if I feel like I'm not being heard, or if I can't get my point across, or whatever it is, I would just shut down. Like all right, moving on, rather than addressing it. So like sweeping under the rug. And some people have that style of communicating. Some people they just get really angry. They start slamming. It's like so understanding that about the person and understanding like okay, what works for us because. For some guys, you can never win. They're going to always say you nagging, no matter how you say it, no matter what you know what I mean? So it's just like, that just might be how he receives women that speak up for themselves.
I have to
What
agree
is it
with you.
nagging about? I don't know.
That's you took the words out of my mouth. It's what you nag about, but I'm just saying in general.
I can't put up with that.
I'm with her when they say sweeping stuff under the rug. I know I do that with just a lot of things, not just a relationship. But you're not gonna nag or fuss at me about something. You turn around and do it, then that's when I explode.
That's my number
That,
one.
I will
hate
explode.
that with
I'll give you an example.
Give
What
me
if a
an
woman is
example.
constantly telling you know what, I feel some kind of way about you responding to me late. Like you responding like not in a timely manner. So she's like, man, you know.
What? I'm a
That's
man.
that's the thing.
I'm a man on some things. Because it's just like,
No,
people are
because
busy.
if I'm in your presence and you always in your phone, but I don't get a response for however long, I'm gonna feel some kind of way about that. Now, if I tell you once, twice, 3 times, it's like, okay, I'm communicating to you that that's an issue for me, and that's the first thing people say. Well, if you didn't say it was an issue, so if a person is telling you I have an issue with that,
Can I?
Some things you can just
Can I
wait
ask you
on
why?
until
I'm
you
not
see a
saying that-
person.
I'm not
You can't
negating
just
your
always pick up the
feelings.
phone
I'm
and
just
text. You
asking
might be in the
why.
middle of something.
Why is it an issue? What's the root cause of an issue? Because everybody got their own little twerk about what they deal with, so I'm not negating that. But in that regard, like, why is that an issue? Because I think I have that issue. That's what I said. I think I'm a man.
That's a good question.
Because if I don't respond, why you ain't text back? I'm busy.
that's a good question. And again, I had that conversation with some
It's-
friends, and I have to really ask myself, okay, you know this person work a lot. You know what, but I still feel some kind of way. I feel like I'm not a priority.
There you go.
But it's a
That.
timely matter with it.
There you go.
You just can't. You might have a job where you're not even supposed to be on the phone. You sneak into, and I do it.
Kinda
I do
like
that
me.
a lot. Like damn.
So
Then
You know,
person
I might.
That many a day.
Or I start off,
Text
good
me, I
morning,
can't
good
text
afternoon,
you.
Always
or
on
you
your
might be to
phone
text me
first.
back. I might not see it for 2 hours. It's just a timely matter thing. I gotta sneak off to go,
exactly.
communicate. So I'm risking losing a job to say good morning or good evening.
There you
No,
go.
slow down. I'll see you later. And we talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you don't want to talk, that's fine too. It all depends. Like you said,
we're gonna come back onto that because those opens up a whole nother conversation about not being ready for a relationship, and that's gonna signs and stuff about not being ready, and that's gonna be a different topic for a different day in terms of relationships. Signs of not being ready.
That's a sign.
If you can't admit that you're wrong, if you have to always be right, and everything has to always be about you, or you can't
That's a
express
woman,
yourself.
period.
I'm saying you
No,
can't
no,
express yourself
offense.
because I'm saying
shout out
because
to Big Jeff in the
that's a
building.
part of communication. Hold on, and I ain't trying to get off topic because we got to go on to the next segment, but that's a part of not communicating. If you can't communicate how you feel the right way, or somebody asks you a question and you shut down, you're just not ready. Those are signs.
One more thing before we jump off this one. Here's another thing that I feel women do a lot. And it goes back to what Corey says about the timing. Like, women pick the most randomest time to just out of nowhere start complaining. Like, dude, we was just good. Like, where's this coming from?
That's the worst time when the game on. You want to talk
out
about
of nowhere.
Like I said,
I feel like dude, I just talked to you earlier, everything was fine. Now, out of nowhere, it's a complaint.
That's when they-
I'm guilty doing pillow talk. I'm guilty.
I mean,
Man,
y'all come out of nowhere, like, bam. Like,
Can you wait till before or after the game?
Yeah, that's another
It's
thing.
not out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I tell you, but
we gotta talk
Then when y'all
about
feel like y'all get out of
So
tension
it's
the
like,
most.
I guess on the better attention, I want to ask all these questions.
Women
Let's
gotta
do
learn
it.
how to
So,
control
let's-
their emotions.
We got a second part, and this is a dope ass first segment because it took us to 50 minutes already. But second segment is I know we kind of a little late here, but
Yeah, top 550.
no, I won't be top 10. I only have one more, but I might put that on
I'm
my list.
glad LeBron ain't in it though.
Yeah, you should do that. I could put that on there.
Nah.
But we're gonna talk about
My boo thing.
Michael B.
we're gonna talk about the topic of the show. The title of the show is Ready or Not. What's the topic of the show?
Ready or not.
And so, single marriage being the new single is part of it. So it's like people still indecisive, but it's like you hear men and women always say what they look for in a relationship. you get it. You got it in your hand like this water. Then you drop the ball. And I'm talking about Michael B. Jordan and Lori Horby. I'm going to say it like that. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it.
Why do you think he dropped the ball?
Well,
He didn't drop
I
the
ain't
ball.
saying he dropped the ball, but you know,
I feel like she peaked with him.
you know, she dropped the ball. He gave everybody knows the story. He proposed to her. They was dating for like.
Oh, he did propose.
That's
Is that
hearsay.
speculation
That's
or is
hearsay.
it?
He proposed.
Your sources?
Hold on.
That's
He
hearsay.
proposed.
He proposed.
He did not.
She turned him down. That's her boo thing, as she said. So she's just glad he's still on the
That's
market.
hearsay.
She
So-
deleted him from social media. That lets me know that it was some underlying something. Not blaming him.
And now
Uh-huh.
she,
And
and now
she's
fucking with Jack Harlow
Thank
because he's
you.
the it rapper right
Yeah.
now. You know she a clout chaser.
And she left.
You know what I'm saying?
And they say when you go black, you don't go back. But goddamn it, she did. So my thing is, you had a dude that was all in for you, proposed everything, and you dropped him,
He should've
beat
known
him,
that.
and
Nobody
then
want
you
no-
moved on with somebody else.
Listen, man.
So I want first. I gotta get the panel first. I want to know
Hey,
you
check
guys'
this out.
feedback on this.
Check this out.
You know,
Michael B. Jordan is kind of in the same, I mean, not career-wise, but he's kind of in that same Will Smith lane. And women just don't want that, man. Like, I mean, some, you would think they do.
You pay too
Handsome,
much.
rich.
Well, you
Well,
can't
that's
say
not
that.
the
No, you don't want
can't
that.
say he in the same category
What?
with Will Smith because, as far as well, from my opinion, a movie actor, you know what I'm saying, they probably don't portray themselves as, you know what I'm saying, how a rapper do in a normal, you know what I'm saying, outside guy, you know what I'm saying, carry himself. Maybe he was probably, you know what I'm saying, she liked what, you know what I'm saying, what he could bring to the table at the time, but he was probably
and
a different type of feel, you know what I'm saying. She was just in there for the moment.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm
That's what
saying.
you're saying.
That's exactly what I'm saying. She's chasing the clout. Jack Harlow is kind of like the it rapper right now. So, of course, you know, she already enrolled the Future train when he was on top of the game. Now she then jumped over to him. I feel like everybody know Michael B. Jordan, successful in shape, handsome guy, one of the top black actors in the world. And as soon as he wanted to settle down, which, in my opinion, she not wrong. The girl only, 24, 25? Like, why would you even want to marry this little girl? I mean, that's just my opinion. But anyway.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah,
Cute.
I feel like she did what she was
Very
supposed to do.
good.
She's a
Right.
kid. Like,
Old ass men
come on.
with little ass clothes.
I agree. So I'm not even mad at her per se.
Right.
I just feel like
Well, you
she
can't
probably
be-
she peaked with him.
Well,
That's
you can't
my
be
thing.
mad at, but when both of your parents, you know what I'm saying, establish something in
My
the
mama.
your mama and your daddy already established something.
You messed up right now.
That's something that's, you know what I'm saying, that was
Mhm.
required.
It's
You know what I'm
on the
saying?
bloodline.
That's in it
That's what I'm
already.
saying.
All right, so hold on. I'm gonna go back here real quick because
she a pretty goon.
I'm gonna tell you. I know I got some detailed information where I'm like, you ever heard of it? You know, she get it from her mama, stunning like my daddy. That's what she doing because everybody knows Steve Harvey went through
You went
3
through
or
that-
4 marriages by now.
That ain't her daddy. Her real daddy is a drug dealer.
Hold
Yeah.
on, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Her real daddy's still locked up in Memphis.
Right.
He got a 35-year bid.
Right.
I think he.
Now ask me how. Now the question is, ask me how I know these things, because after my career in football didn't work out, I worked in construction. I was an electrician. I worked on a house. I can tell you exactly where the house is in Memphis, Tennessee, where I actually met Marjorie Woods and her sister. Her sister looks way better than her, by the way. So, no, you laughing? I'm serious. And
Well, they both bad.
they go bad and motherfucker. And I'm like, she was chasing the clout. And dude was like, he was moving metrotons of drugs back in Memphis at the time. And he got caught up on some embezzlement. That's how he got the 35-year bid. And then she all of a sudden falls into the Steve Harvey trap. Steve Harvey get her, and I never understood how
No,
a
let's
hoe
back
could give
up.
another hoe an ultimatum, but that's a whole other story
Back
for a
up,
whole
back
other show.
up. So Lori's
I'm on
father-
one, but
Lori's
she
father
chased the
cousin-
bag. She chased the bag,
Right.
and
That's
so
the point.
it's like she probably grew up looking
She
at
get it
that,
honest.
and she thinking that's the right thing to do.
She get it honest, but this is the thing. Anybody from the hood know, like you just know, like, come on. And it's not because he's a simp. It's not because women don't like that. This is because of who she is, and it's like it's not anything wrong with dating and vetting, but you have to be a lady for one and have this person out. She is a celebrity, so of course everybody's going to know about what she's doing. But when you're dating a father and his son, when you're dating, you know what I'm saying? When you but what I notice about her a lot, like you said, is cloud chasing. She's always trying to project this and show all these pictures, like all them kids, all the affection and stuff. Michael, he wasn't really on that. Like she was trying to be, like you said, because it's about the image. Yeah. So he should have peaked it, But like some guys, they be so into either the sex, the looks, they don't care, and then they get hurt, and then we stuck with y'all.
True. You got a point for that. Corey, we didn't get your input on this one.
Man, Steve Harvey, I don't want him. The future voice.
Future said.
I mean, woo.
After she left.
But
so y'all ain't never dealt with a Lori Harvey?
No.
I don't even like them kind of.
Wait a minute.
I think a lot of guys probably did.
You a crack. You a crack. But
I think what it is.
You don't wife him.
I think what it is. Like I think you said, and both of y'all said it, that it was what she's chasing. But at the same time, this guy Michael B. Jordan, like, man, I'm ready just to have me 1-1, because he can go out there and have whoever he want as well. I mean, she ain't just a catch. I'm assuming no homo looking at the guy, but it's the truth, and then he's an actor, and he's a well-known actor, So, I mean, just like she moved on, he could have moved on too, I don't know. I mean, then right, it's. We can just speculate because you never know what's going on with that Hollywood world.
Yeah,
we not in it. A lot of that be for gays, a lot of it be just for the media. I mean, the Kardashians built a career off of it, so
that was another
I can say Lori can be on that. I mean, not Lori, but
he's another one too.
Lori is. But I don't know them personally, so I can't judge them either.
In a way, can you say Kanye was the same way? Because he went from Amber Rose to Kim Kardashian.
Kanye was Kanye though. Like with or without them, he was Kanye. You know what I'm saying? Like who didn't know Kanye before?
But it's not about that. It's like he was already in the sense that those women, but they have an objective. It's like as a man, especially as a player, you're supposed to be able to see that stuff like a mile away. Now, if you still choose to do it, you just gotta suck it up and like, all right, cool. But if you
chose to do it,
you as a G, like you supposed to see that stuff like a mile. Like I know a dude,
I know
a player when I see one. You know what I mean? So like if you choose to still, that's what then that's on you. But if you should be able to see that stuff, and that's why I felt bad because I'm like when I first heard it, I'm like, okay, this either just one or two things. He either just trying to hit and he gonna move on, or he gonna really fall for her and she gonna hurt him. One or the other. See what happens.
So wait a minute.
Hold on, she secretly on the inside, she's like, yes, he's still out there. That's what she like.
I love
Look at that smile. She's still yes.
I photoshopped the picture of me and Michael B. Jordan. I love him.
I would say tag the girl.
Get your feelings out of it. Get your feelings out of it, please.
I did. He wouldn't answer my
Well, they say he don't date black women. So.
That was another thing too.
Yeah.
He does date black women.
Oh, I'm just saying. That's what they've said about him.
Said that.
Tay Diggs. There's a lot of them. They really don't fuck with black women. He's one of them.
Tay did on black.
And after this Lori Harvey shit, he probably finna go back.
But I think
that's
this is
an
important.
She fucked it up
It's an important conversation to have, and I think it's something that should remind guys too. Like it's like, all right, I don't want to hear that sorry story. Like if you knew what you was getting into, just suck it up and keep it moving. Like, because I come across a lot of hurt guys. It's like you knew that. Like, if you want to have the baddest, but she didn't mess with whoever. Like, I don't want to hear all of that. Just lick your wounds and keep it moving. It's some guys, but then they try to blame it on us. Like, man, I was a good dude. I tried to do right by it, but you knew she wasn't on it. You know what I mean? So it's like.
But y'all always want a good guy, instead of a guy that talk shit and have fun.
Thank you. You took the question right out of my mouth.
That's the guy that's winning though.
The ones who ready to settle down want that. She was not ready to settle down.
Ain't always like that.
Seriously. And unfortunately, he got hurt in the process. I really do believe this man genuinely.
You can't really say that.
Right.
You can't say he got hurt because, like I said,
if
see the
proposing,
right?
We don't know.
He proposed.
If he proposed,
I don't think he proposed. My thing is he started. So let me just say, I have a different thought process. Not saying that he didn't want to be serious, but he's 35, she's 25. Mm-hmm. So was she lying to him, gauge to see if, like, okay, I think she's ready, so let me go ahead and propose, right? You get what I'm saying? So I'm not understanding how a man just up and propose, and then she up and say no, and they are all on social media. I think it's more to the story. I think it's more to the story. I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming. I'm not blaming anybody.
Let me
But
say,
we don't know
let me say
exactly.
this. Let me say this, and I'm glad you kind of brought it my way.
Yes.
I think I speak for everybody who falls in this category. Some people can keep that representative
I knew you about to go
a lot longer than others.
I knew you was about to do that.
Yeah, I'm just saying because it go both ways. It's like
I'm not
What's the
accepting
representative?
like
I'm sorry.
you put up what you want them to see, but that's not who you really are deep
There,
down.
But with this situation, she never had a representative because everybody saw her track record.
Exactly.
Yeah, we
They
already
have
know.
whole
Yeah.
They have entire articles, and it's at least 10 people. And there's you know what I mean?
Right.
And it's nothing wrong, because J-Lo did the same thing. There's nothing wrong with you choosing and women being proactive with their dating life. There's nothing wrong with that. But dating a father and his son, and the way that the turnaround, that's problematic, and it's a red flag.
But y'all women,
I'm not mad at her
y'all
for
women
keeping
need to
it
have a
family, though.
conversation with her then.
Is it
Because
confirmed that
if
she
in
dated
return,
her?
in reverse, if we did that and hurt her, then men ain't nothing. Men,
Yeah, I mean it's
So-
the same.
And that's another thing I was going to say. You just made my point for me. So because there's a lot of people that was defending this, this young lady. And like I said, in my opinion, she's 25. She ain't ready for no marriage. And plus, the lifestyle she lives, she's jumping around from. She done been passed around through Hollywood. That's not marriage material, right? But let's just flip it and say that she was the one that was ready to get married, and he was like, "Nah, I ain't on that."
Yep.
And
The
hurt
women
her,
with a
he would
bad
get assassinated.
Assassinated. That's what I was
No,
like.
honestly,
So
you
gotta go
would
both
get
ways.
Get
Destroy that man.
assassinated.
Yep.
Assassinated.
Oh, he wasted her time. Oh, he
You
ain't
know, I mean, the
shit.
same thing will happen if this were to happen, and I don't wish this on anybody, even though they just say they having fun with Diddy and
The Miami girl.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. She's younger, but what if she falls in love with Diddy? You see his damn track record.
Exactly.
You know
Exactly.
But did he explain that when they had on Revoke when they had
Oh yeah, that little talk they did.
he told him, I'm saying,
He said, we
it
just
was
having
dating,
fun.
I'm saying, but we not together though.
Yeah, but there's still a young girl who might get caught up.
Uh-huh.
in it.
She already arguing with one of his
Right.
exes,
See, that's what I'm saying.
going back and forth, talking, getting
That's
into
where
it
that
over.
age difference comes in.
but no, Diddy can also be controlling and be like, you can't go messing with Usher. Usher, my boy. But you saying this open, so you can't be on some we dating, but we together, but we dating.
Yeah.
That's kind of like, what is it called? Polygamy? Monogamy? Nah, that's too much, man.
What? If you got
Let's find you one and sit down. And then not only that,
Easier said
and
than
you only
done.
know the Diddy got a habit where he got to stay in that spotlight. Shorty got that spotlight. So the way we talking about Laura, we could be saying the same thing about Diddy.
But I think for him it's
You
a
know what
little
I'm
bit
saying?
different.
Nah,
It's
Diddy,
his
50
wealth.
some years old.
Diddy got a history of
Diddy
dating
got a
younger,
history.
way
He
younger
does,
women.
but I think it's his
What happened?
wealth,
What's the girl
because
name?
his
Cassie?
children's mother.
Yeah, she
that-
might
that
still
one
be
that
on
passed
his
away,
board.
She
Diddy
was the
appears.
perfect woman for him. He does not
He
want to
said
be
that.
married.
Who?
I think it's about his money. I think he doesn't. He
He
wants to
said that.
protect his wealth, and he's trying to spread it around by having children. But he doesn't want to be married. His first child, Justice's mother, bad businesswoman, everything that he could ever want. And the one that passed away, that would have been a perfect person. So he does not want that. It's not about the woman. He had the baddest chick every day of the year. He's never going to do it. He had all the top women. He's the same with Lori. It doesn't matter who she has. It's not about the person. It's just like that's not what they want.
not
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's the money and
Sure.
exposure in a sense, basically.
And just
And
they
the
live their
freedom.
life.
Yes.
Because she's extremely
So is this-
beautiful, and she has a lot going for her too. Like people don't know that she's an equestrian. Is it equestrian? Yeah, but she has her own modeling career. Like she has stuff going on too. So it's like, if I can get whatever I want, why would I have to? You know what I mean? Like she just might not want to. The same with Diddy. You know
So
what
it's
I
just
mean?
safe to say
So
hoe
why-
is
so
life
why
right
did-
now.
why
Shout out to
did
Nisha.
why did
Nisha,
you-
my cousin.
Want to have
She'll
sex,
say that
and
in
she
she'll
wanna
say that in a
have
heartbeat.
boyfriend.
That's say
People
hoe
have
is
sex
life.
and
Keep
just
it
don't just leave it
If
alone.
you in that
She
style,
wanna
if
be
you in that
involved
lifestyle.
in it.
my thing is
That is-
that I don't
that's
like
too
that
much to
that
bubble.
that men are calling her a hoe, but some, not all. But men do this all of the time. They're just not celebrities.
I don't like comparing men and women because we are not to be compared when it comes to what we expect. So it's like, okay, if we're saying a man in the marriage context of marriage, he's a protector, he's a provider, he's this and the other. I don't want to be compared to a man because we have two different roles. I support him in a certain function. I'm a woman. I'm supposed to be feminine in certain functions. I'm not comparing the two. It's like because there is a double standard. It is what it is.
Yeah, it's a double standard. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying
I
anybody.
think it's a double
not
standard,
anybody,
but
but it's a
both
double
are
standard.
supposed to be equal though.
But we're
Yeah.
not.
In
We're
marriage?
not in that.
Yeah.
It's not that.
I think that we're equal. I'm not religious. I have a different belief system. I respect Christianity, but I'm more of a spiritualist. I think that I can agree in some aspects, but we're both yin and yang. We're both male and female, and there is some equality there, right? And it is some balance there. You know what I mean? So that's just my take on it. I think respect is the main thing. Like we got to learn how to respect one another.
But
More
I
so
heard
about that.
in a marriage, the husband is supposed to be first, right?
I don't know. I've never been married.
Yeah.
Me either.
He's supposed to come first.
If
First,
Before
like
your
what?
kids, before.
if you look at the order of a household,
The
it's
husband is supposed to be first.
God, the man, the woman, then
And the
the
children.
kids. That's the order.
And a lot of
the
people
household.
aren't gonna accept that. Like, I'm not putting him in front of my mother. I'm not putting him in front of my kids. Like, you shouldn't be married then.
Right,
Like, you know what I'm saying?
Because a woman's last name changed, the man don't. She take his name.
The man is first, so a lot of women ain't finna have that. Like,
Not in this day and age.
But you know what? I'm kind of throwing back on us a little bit, fellas. Like, that's an interesting point when you're talking about spiritual, but where you're supposed to put your belt, like Scott, you're supposed to put your spouse right there. And a lot of us, we can't put another woman ahead of our own mama. And I can speak from a man's point of view because it's like, it'll be hard for us to do that because at the end of the day, our mamas is the last one that's gonna just duck out the belt, like flake us on any kind of way. Like they there through and through,
Right.
you know. So this is where we kind of make poor decisions in terms of who we choose to take because sometimes that woman, it's like she wants it, but it's like I tell every woman, and I think this is where relationships is taking a backseat or it's deviating from tradition right now because men these days are vetting women saying, you know what, you gotta earn the right to be a priority. And most women don't want to earn the right to be a priority.
Let's talk
And
about
not
that.
only earn the right to be a priority, but I was just going to say earn, but go back. The man has to also, if he's feeling that woman, give her the option to be there for him
Absolutely.
just as equally as his mother can, because at the end of the day, we're supposed to outlive our parents. So when mama long and gone, I don't need you there now trying to make me feel that role, that spot. No, I should have been in that spot a long time ago.
Right.
Well,
that's a good point.
I think respect, right? Because I guess that's where it goes back to respect. Casey, I'll give you an example. So if you're with somebody and something happens to his mama, you know, the respect level is go take care of your mama. I'll be all right. I'm not the sickly one. I'm not the one going through financial difficulty. Go take care of your mama. So it's about having a conversation. So that's why I said like equal. I don't really look at, and you know, of course, providing, protecting, stuff like that. I'm not saying that, but respecting that it's just not all about me, whether we're married or not. Like you got your family that you want to, you know, take care of, and you know, you can't just say, oh, well, it's all about why you take. No, that's your mama. I get it, because I want the same respect that if something has happened to my mama, and you know that I can go take care of her and you be there for me. So yeah, that's just what I.
Okay, I got a quick story, y'all. I'm gonna make it brief since we're speaking on this whole marriage dynamic. I know a couple. Well, they were married. Actually, they still are. They separated. Of course, I'm not gonna say their name, but his mom passed away, right? And so, at the funeral, the wife gets mad and starts crying and basically talking shit, giving him a hard time because he's not giving her any attention at his fucking
That's why they
mother's
separated.
funeral.
Right? That's why they separated.
After divorce.
Thank you.
Yeah, they're not together.
Period. Like,
Now tell me
that's
that
why,
crazy.
that's why they separated,
Crazy.
right?
And I even told her, like, how you gonna do this at this man's mother's funeral?
Ouch.
He didn't even really introduce me to anybody. That's it.
That's
Lord,
the
I'm
reason why
You don't
he
know
did
where his head is. He's looking at his mother in a casket.
Yeah.
Get over yourself, shorty.
I think I can relate to that topic right there because
That's crazy, bro.
I had a friend I was messing with. Like my mother passed. So my feelings towards like, you know what I'm saying, just trying to comfort you on something that died with you, I don't know how to control it, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't know how to handle that.
Mm-hmm.
So like they got mad because I don't know how to console you, you know what I'm saying? Because I lost my mother at a hard time though, you know what I'm saying? Actually at my worst though. I was incarcerated and I lost my mother. But,
That's even tougher.
you know what I'm saying? So I can't feel how you feel. And you know what I'm saying, they get upset about it. Like I don't have that type of feeling. And women get mad about it. Like I don't know how to control. Like my feelings, I all that just went blank. I don't know how to, you know what I'm saying, console you.
Did you tell her that? Did you say, you know what? I went through a difficult time.
She should know that
She
though.
should have to
But
go
I-
grief there.
You know what I'm
I'm
saying?
gonna have to
I
grief
even
there.
tried to explain it, you know what I'm saying, but I can't, you know what I'm saying, because
Yeah.
you feel like, you know what I'm saying, because your mother passed, I'm supposed to be there for you. I don't know how to be there for you, you know what I'm saying, when I lost
That's
mine.
honest.
And that's why, like,
Real
people
shit.
in
That's
my
honest.
family, especially even my godmother, Lord, I hope she's not watching. But anyway, she like pressures me so much to just jump. Like, if I'm talking to a guy, they got to jump full blown into a relationship, and I tell her, please respect the fact that I don't want to jump full blown into a relationship. That I need to see somebody in all seasons.
Right.
And I mean, whether that look like summer, winter, spring, fall, so be it. But if it is summer, winter, spring, fall, think about it. We all of us have had things that have happened to us that during certain times of the year, it might trigger us. I need to see how does this person handle, okay, the death of a loved one that happened already. Or over a year period, something tragic is going to happen between you or whoever your death is life. Somebody's going to pass away, somebody's going to get into a car accident, something is going to happen. How does that person handle that? How do I handle myself with that person when that person says, I need time alone? Or you have to see somebody in all seasons to see how you guys going to be compatible with each other and play off of each other before you just say, I'm fully committed to this. Because you need to know, can you deal with it?
There you go.
That is so
And close.
that is so true. But you know,
Damn,
that makes
those
it
curtains.
difficult. It makes it difficult for us to do that when guys don't give us that 100%. If you dibbling, dabbling everywhere, we don't get a chance to see that. So it makes that process even longer if we even get to experience it. But we never get all of you because you only give a portion of you. It's like, so we never get a chance to see that. And I think if people really put in the effort, like, all right, I'm gonna try this. If it don't work out next, but not have 10, 20, and it's just like y'all get what y'all get when y'all get it. It's like because you never get a chance to really see that. It's like you just happy that okay, he doing X, Y, and Z. It's like no, if you truly put in the effort to spend time to be with the woman, she gets a chance to see all of that. And then you want to flip it when y'all actually get in a relationship and change and start seeing that stuff. Like oh wait, where did this come from? It's not. It was always there. You didn't see it because you didn't put that effort in out there.
So can we hold ourselves
But still, at the same time, it's not like you just mark it on your calendar with a tragedy or
Right.
a trial in your life.
It's not right. It's not that.
Everything is going to be situational. So you to say it's like to see or to say a person's not giving you their all. That's like trying to dictate time and
It's not
time in
dictating
some
time.
in other scenarios because that's something that's like the ultimate wild card. It's like you are who you are, and it's like you deal with the situation.
It's not dictating time. It's allowing that person to agree to do whatever they need to, but you're not falling into another vagina to cope. That's not grieving. That's not what you do.
Why
Like, if
not?
you need time.
I'm gonna ask
Thank you.
No. When I
I
say,
was thinking
Bad timing.
she said it, so I just ran with it.
what I'm saying is more about us holding ourselves accountable.
That's what I just
If
said,
a
we gotta
guy
hold
is not,
ourselves
if a guy is
accountable.
not giving
Yep.
you attention, I'll take me. If a guy is not giving attention, I'm gonna see what's going on first. I'm a communicator I want to analyze what's going on first because I don't want to move in emotion because we're emotional beings and I know that about me. So let me take a step back. Then if I communicate to you, well, this is the way that I feel, and then there is no change, then I may communicate it again. And if I don't see no change, then you ain't really messing with me that way. So I'm gonna bounce. You can go ahead and be with who you want to be. It's no anger. I need to be able to
So what if it's a
speak.
guy like this? and they're like, okay, you know what, just give me, because I've had that, like, okay, I'm just going through a rough period, I just need, you know, and it's like, don't write me off because I'm in a different place, and so they're not really communicating, but that's what they're trying to say, like, okay,
They have
I
to
can't.
communicate with me. Nope, I'm a communicator. That's
So
something
it's
I'm
like
gonna annoy you to hell,
we see it as
or you ain't gonna deal with
excuses,
it.
like they
I'm a
not making
communicator.
time for us, but it could really be that, okay, they just need that space, but it's like you need that space, but you and somebody else feel like that.
Then communicate that. That's what I'm saying.
But they don't. That's what I'm saying. They still make it seem like they, you know.
I tell a
trying to
dude
be
you
what
ain't
you
gotta
don't
lie to
want.
me. If you wanna sleep around, if you wanna do whatever you wanna do, tell me and give me the option so I can
In
be
a
out.
perfect world.
But
They
I
don't
think
do that.
then that's when we gotta use women intuition. I think sometimes we stay in situations
Yeah.
longer than we should out of
Yeah.
fear
That's what I'm
of
saying.
being
It's us.
alone, and I
We
get
gotta
it,
hold
or
ourselves
the
accountable.
next man
Oh,
is not gonna come.
you said it was
You know what I'm
us.
saying?
I said it's
You
They
know,
us.
gotta
We
hold
have to
themselves.
hold
we gotta hold
ourselves
ourselves
accountable.
accountable.
Nobody's gonna
You know,
do
I was going, but we can go to the next one.
Oh, it's too tough, fast. You
I
want to
said,
work
I said,
with that?
I was going past up on it. But
Yeah, it's the Levant show today. He was ready for this.
All right, help y'all out. And by the way, it's unscripted. So, next top 5. Top 5 things that men will want women to do more of. Listen.
Okay.
Ooh.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I definitely
I
got
wrote
hit
down
up.
6, so I got to sit here and disseminate which ones I'm going to sit
Let me
here.
prepare my.
You know what? No, seriously, I got 5. So this is like the honorable mention right here.
Stop
Okay?
jumping to conclusion.
This is the honorable mention.
Number 1.
Stop looking nagging me.
2.
Less snagging.
Oh,
Less snagging. That's the honorable mention.
man, that should be number 1.
Okay? Because we can actually sit here and it's like you said, he don't communicate, you want to see him in all seasons. Sometimes, and I've always said the difference between, men, we compartmentalize. That's how our minds are set. We take a box down, we address everything in that box, and we furnish with it, pack it back up, and put it back up, and we're done. But we have an empty box. We have not empty box, a nothing box. We'll put it, guess what we do? Absolutely nothing. It ain't got nothing to do with you. We just want that peace and quiet and peace and serenity. And sometimes that bugs the shit out of certain women, so they'll think when we're in that box, they'll think something's wrong when it's actually not. That's just a part of our me time that most women don't understand. We'll space out. We ain't trying to hit nobody. We ain't gonna answer our phones. It's like fuck social media. We just in our own little space. That's the honorable mention. Number 5. We wish women would pay us more compliments.
Damn, I said that recently.
Why though?
Why?
Y'all so cute and handsome.
Oh, very much.
What type of compliment? Let me say that.
Compliment. Man. I was just talking to somebody.
It can be a compliment on your good qualities, and it's in conjunction of for much is given, much is required. They would like for us. People don't
Constantly compliment them.
Women sometimes get uneasy because if we're their man and we don't pay them compliments, that's all they want,
Yeah.
That's all they need, bro.
and that's all they want. And guess what? We would be naive to think that we don't want the same thing because that makes them feel good inside. And see, sometimes that's what keeps us loyal. Go keep it 100. If they compliment us more, then we less cheap in the world. Hey,
Oh my
but
God.
anyway,
You started.
That's a good one. I was just talking about that recently with somebody.
okay.
Swear to God, like, man, I mean,
Number
give me a
4.
compliment every once in a while.
Words of
Shoot me a text. You know
affirmation.
what I'm saying?
Number 4. Let me get to this.
Reach out to
Keep being a
me.
man.
Let me get to this. I need my own camera for this one. Let me get to number 4. We wish y'all would take charge just a little bit more.
Oh, Lord.
In general or sexually?
Yeah.
I'm not talking sexual.
I'm asking.
See, get your
Okay,
head out together for a
guys.
second.
Are you
When I
speaking in
say,
general?
hold on, when I say take charge, and this is going to spin off to number
Make
3 a little bit,
lemonade.
Oh, okay.
you're going to have to get out of the generational curses. Oh, the man need to approach me. No, approach that motherfucker. We
Thank
can't
you.
read your mind.
2022.
Sometimes initiate and start a conversation.
Do something.
You know what I'm saying?
Stop sitting
Because
around waiting on me.
just like you have questions, if we like you, we got the same questions. So when if you do more of these things, if you do more of these things, I'm telling you, this is what men really want you to do.
God, you hitting it today, bro. I give you that.
I'm gonna practice it next time.
Damn.
I'm
Number
gonna swing
three.
these hips around a little bit.
Thank you.
Man, I'm trying to tell you, that's sitting around waiting shit.
And
There's
with
some
number
aggressive
four,
women out
Hold
there.
on.
Go ahead.
Before you say that.
Actually, do I want to drink at the bar?
Hey,
Man.
hold on.
I take a bottle of water.
Well, hold on. Is do women feel like rejection hurt their pride?
Yeah, I struggle
Okay.
with rejection,
Okay.
so that's a lot.
Okay. So
So
kind of like no, is it how he
So,
rejected?
so
Because
man,
personally,
feel
like
the
now
same
I
way.
can
Hold
on
on,
my Facebook
hold on.
page
Let
and
me
all
get
good
these
right now.
last three, then we'll talk. We'll go back into we go in deep.
Yeah.
Because number 4 spins off into number 3. We wish you do more of getting out your own comfort zone. Prime example. Me and Oos like to go to hookah lounge. Me and Corey go to cigar lounge. You got some women that, and I'm like, no, come out. Completely different vibe to being around smokers, this and that. And there's been times that we've invited people that don't do it. They come out and they become like, they start coming around us a lot more. And then they eventually start trying hookahs and get a lot of our bad habits and stuff. But that's a whole other story. But the thing is, they get out of their comfort zone and try something new and actually start liking it.
Mm-hmm.
And see, sometimes you don't know what you like until you actually try it. And it's part of being spontaneous. You know,
I don't like cocaine, but I ain't never tried.
That's
I
because you
can't see where you going with it. It's just like, you know what I'm saying, ladies like to go out and, you know what I'm saying, they want to go to dinner. They want the lobster and shit all the time and shit like that. But I don't want to go to restaurants all the time.
Cook.
Cook. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Thank you. That's another good example.
If you're not a cook, then
Number 2.
If.
Number 2. We wish you'd listen more.
Woo!
That's hard for a woman.
I said it earlier in the show.
It's like they ain't even got ears.
We're good at talking and expressing yourself, but listening to understand as opposed to listening to respond.
Yeah.
I think all people.
And that's one of my favorite sayings.
Well,
Man, shut the fuck up and listen.
That's too much.
Because a lot of women say, I ask so many questions because I don't understand, but you ask the questions with your mind already made up what the answer is going to be, which
on
will be
fire today,
purpose.
though, low key. On fire today. On my mind, he on fire today. He
Which
already
leads me
having
to
his
number
mind
1.
made up.
Which leads me to number 1. But damn it, I'm going to say it. Men wish women would respect us more. Prime example, me and Butch always talk about this. If you haven't noticed, there is a big difference, even in media, even in sales, a big difference between Mother's Day and Father's Day.
Ooh, that was gonna be a part of the goofy.
You know what I'm
Oh,
saying?
this shit.
Me either. I just posted
I'm
about
not a
this
fan.
yesterday.
And hold on.
Like, damn, gotta get
Part
a sandwich
of
or something.
respect is listening to us, taking into account what we say and what we think.
But
Most importantly, you think of us in a positive light. Nothing goes like you don't think of us worst case scenario or flaws or somebody getting over on you or playing you as a fool.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you approach us with your mind already made up on negative because that's what you've been exposed to. That's what your past dictates, and that's not true in all cases. But you respect the man more, and here's another thing about respect: you respect your man more, you get more. You get more, but see, it also makes a relationship easier because a man has to deal with a sick relative. He's in school. He started a business. He has to work long hours. You can understand how that man truly is feeling. Therefore, treat him as an equal partner instead of an idol. That's my top 5.
Okay.
What's y'all rebuttal?
I have nothing to say.
I don't think it's also rebuttal. You said a lot. You said a lot. I got attention deficit. He rewind, no,
You can catch it on YouTube.
right, you gotta catch it
Let's
on
talk about a shot.
You gotta catch it on YouTube. I mean, I guess I agree with you. I just think that, like I said, going back to both men and women just need to communicate more and also be open and honest about what your feelings are, what your triggers are, and you know what I'm saying? Right, if you know, exactly. And you know, so I think sometimes we're just afraid to really just lay it on the line for fear of making that person run away or whatever. But if that person goes and run away, then that's not the person for you.
And that's what I had to learn. And that goes back to what you were asking about the rejection piece. Women deal with that too. It's like some women, they're just like, God, well, no. Some women, they're like, okay, whatever, all right, next. But like, I'm for right. Like, I'm the kind of person, but I'm very sincere. I'm very genuine though. So I've prepared some really amazing dates for guys that I've been out with, you know, and if I were to just get, I don't mind. If you're like, I'm just tonight, I'm just staying home. It was a long day, whatever. All right, that's cool. But I ain't gonna lie. There's been times I felt some kind of way if I went over and beyond to try to do something to make him feel special, and I didn't feel like he received it in a way. But I had to learn a lot about love languages and understanding, like just because this is what I'm giving, that doesn't mean that's how that person is receiving it. So I got to understand like, how they feel, what they want. You know what I mean? And not just take it personal because they don't receive what I'm giving. You know what I mean? So
I say this, and it goes to your point saying, listen, you'll know what a man like or what he like to do just by listening, or just seeing what that person does. And sometimes just to look like this. I just wanted something simple, but for you, I might go over the top for it. But you might just be a simple woman, too. You know. So if you listen and see what they like or hear what they like to do, you're like, shit, I know what to do. But some people just got expensive taste. But some of them ain't worth their expensive taste. I'm gonna leave it at that.
And I'm gonna piggyback off of you. And you brought and this goes back into respect when you said love languages. Part of respect is, all right, everybody know there's 5 love languages. When you respect the combination of listening to your partner, you learn each other's love language. And you learn how to give it and receive it. Regardless of how different it is. That's a whole nother level of intimacy people don't realize.
that's true. I have a question. How would you respond to a young lady if you just started to talk to a young lady? Maybe y'all been like talking for like 3 months, and she's picked up on that you like J's, cigars, and certain.
I like pussy too. But
that's not going in the gift box. But like she put together this really nice like basket.
that can come in the box.
Like some new
It's
release
called
of
the
toys
box.
that don't come out until like December. She found a way to get it. She got some of the cigars that you love and some other things. And like again, this is still fresh. How would you respond to that?
And you know what? I had a woman.
Actually,
Hold on, I actually had that. Hold on, I actually hold on. True story.
And she put some thought into it.
Hold on, true story. I had a woman. She gave me a fire extinguisher with some dangles, cigars, a little hookah pins and stuff. I still got that to this day. I'll be at the cigar lounge with the motherfucker.
What happened to that woman?
She's still around.
Oh, okay.
You think I'm a fool?
All right, good. All right.
We be wilding out, goddammit. She go bean type shit, you know.
Like where you at? Like the Tim call in 555. The bar is wild. I am the bar.
So maybe you should make that your only woman.
Yeah, it's coming.
Hold you accountable. Because if a woman is giving you what you want to make you feel special,
It's coming.
then don't be a low
And
honor.
honoring.
Oh, guess what? Oh, she got a really good
What
birthday
if
present
she just
too.
like doing that for that one person, but she don't want to be in a relationship with that person though?
Yeah, but that ain't what it is.
She put that up. See, you listening to respond, not listening to
Yeah, she already had that on
Already had her mind made
You know
up.
what I'm saying? But hey, with that being said, we on the back end of the show. So before we get out of here, we got CL Goofy Mug of the Week. Booyah!
Oh man. Woo. I ain't gonna even do that one, cause
Go ahead.
nah. That's my buddy, you know. But I actually want to do a goofy mob for black-owned businesses that get harassed, man,
Oh,
in suburban areas. They put a lot of work in and come out here to establish themselves. neighbors that don't want to see them there. So they kind of get spot. I didn't say no area, but you know what I mean. But you see this go on so much. No. It's businesses. It's businesses that get harassed in these areas, and I'm like, I look at it as, do y'all really want to see this line go away of black and white or black and Mexican? Like, you know, because Chicago is so segregated, but I don't think people really ready for it to be segregated. You know, be unsegregated, and I see that a lot. So that's just really my goofy mark of the day. Like, if you want to see things grow as a whole, as a human being, not just black and white or Latinos and Irish people, like, come on, man, let's try to work this thing out going forward.
And that's why this platform is so important. I was telling someone last Sunday that somebody needs to write up an article. They do it in Chicago. They have like blogs that feature black-owned businesses, whatever. So someone needs to write up a very articulate
Peace.
someone needs to write something up about that so people know. And it's not about defamation of that business, but making sure that they know, okay, this is what's happening. And so they are aware, because a lot of people aren't. So you see a lot of people coming and going out of that business not being aware. But with media like this, it's important to share that so we're all aware of what's going on and we can support one another.
And but the business got to be,
anyway.
but the business got to be prepared for that crowd that comes after that media blast, because sometimes they don't be ready. But also I got to give a shout out to my man them over there, Corner Convo, Amana, Abasi, McKende. They did their thing at Hyde Park Fest. That's why I didn't want to go off into my goofy mark who I want to give it to, because I should have been there with them, just watching and support. You know, I wish I could have got the press pass, and actually me and Law, but we didn't get it. And I salute them. They did their thing, man. So
that's a
shout
goal
out to
we
them.
have for next year. Hopefully,
Hopefully,
that's next year. We out.
God willing.
You know,
they held it down for the city on the podcast. They really did. You know.
Did.
And hold on, that's what got my goofy mind. DJ Jazzy Jeff, you almost lost a fan today. Shout out to Philadelphia. You got to make a choice between Harold and Uncle Remus. And you can't do that with Uncle Chicago. This can't be about peace. You got to get them wings. Now you got to make a pick when you do get the wings. Both of them. Jazzy Jeff, you get goofy mark for that, but you still one of the coldest DJs
you know
I
what?
ever seen do
That's the one thing I can't say. I went to Wild 'N Out Saturday.
Yeah, you
and,
feel
and,
my
and,
brother.
and a couple of them was like Harold's or Remus. And so a couple people was like Uncle Remus. That Uncle Remus also gets you.
But Harold's got so many of them, you know.
Yeah.
Uncle Remus is like kind of few.
It's just the original Harold's that chicken is good. Everywhere else is just a knockoff. But Uncle Remus with that sauce is universal. That's a whole other comment. That's coming when we say Out West story will be told.
We'll be a part of it.
You know what? Because we're getting ready to wrap up the show. That's coming soon. Fellas, we have meetings right now. We're thinking about doing probably a 4 or 5 part series about West Side Chicago. Because what people don't realize is when you hear about Chicago, everybody's talking about out south. 63rd Street, Old Block, 63rd Street, King Von, them, you know what I'm saying? We was in New Orleans a couple years ago. They were like, I want to go to 63rd with King Von. Them,
Ain't
like,
safe.
They asked us if we knew him.
You know what I'm saying? Asked if we knew
Ain't
him.
that safe
Like,
you
nah.
think, man?
West Side.
West. So we gotta get ready to tell this West Side story. I mean, the world, they need to know about George's music group.
Yeah.
Definitely do.
You know what I'm saying?
If they ain't
George
already
Daniels.
works.
You know what I'm saying? These are the people that they need, pioneers.
They need to go to
You know.
the airport then.
Yeah.
CDs.
You know what I'm saying?
Nah, that was Midway.
So
Yeah, what
we're coming up to that time where it's time to wrap up the show, man. We had a dope show.
Yeah.
Give y'all a hand, man. Females here. Y'all have some great insight. Court. Shouts, Rex.
Well, I gave a shout out to, Corner Convo, Mon, McKinde, and Abasi. They did their thing. Shout out to you guys, of course. Shout out to Lack. He couldn't be here, so, my energy ain't the same without Lack. Lack, he trying to, he in a program where he trying to further his career in education. So, shout out to Lack, man, one of our panelists who been